What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to show you how I make my melodies / samples and the proper etiquette that you guys should use for sending them out for collabs and stuff like that. Alright, so first of all, let's just get to the sample making. So what's been really popular right now is that up-tempo, like summer vibe, so I think I'm going to go for something like that. I like to go around 160, but not much higher than 160. It tends to lose its kind of bounce to it. For the scale, I'm probably going to try and use the major scale, F major. I always like to start with my chords, and I'm just selecting all these notes by doing Control and left clicking. Alright, so now once I got the chords down, I like to select all of them, all of the bottom notes, which you can just do by holding Control and Shift and clicking all the notes. Shift and then Control down on the keyboard. Just bring the velocity down by doing Alt or Control and selecting them and then Alt scroll. what I'm doing is just selecting these notes, bringing them up an octave, and then I'm just shifting them over slightly just to give it a more wide feeling. I'm going to do the same for this note. And then I'm just going to copy this melody over and just change a little bit, slightly, maybe add a little bit more variation to it. Sounds good to me, so I'm just going to make this a little bit more realistic by playing Alt-S, playing with the time. It's just moving the notes slightly and the velocity, but we'll get to that later. And I like to add a little bit of tension to almost all of my samples. And now we're going to press Alt-R on our keyboard, and we can just play with the velocities, and you can pick different seeds, see what sounds good to you. I like this one. And now I like to manually go in through here and kind of just pull the notes a little bit, make it a little bit more realistic. Because even with the strumming, it's not exactly how you would be if you're actually playing the keys. All right, now I'm gonna go through and try and find another sound. All right, I like that sound quite a bit, so I think I'm gonna have this as a main sound and maybe just layer it with some other stuff. I'm just gonna look for a pad sound just to kind of blend everything together. Okay, so I got this pad sound, and now I'm just gonna take all the chords and bring that, Control C, and then Control V to paste that over. We'll see how that sounds. Turn that down a little bit. And now I think I want to layer this with a bell. I'm going to open up Expand and kind of find a nice bell. Nice airy bell, I think. So now I'm just going to copy the top melody that I drew in before. Just to give the high end a little bit more. I think I want to speed this up just slightly. Maybe. Personally, I like to add sub basses to my samples, just give them the option and kind of, I don't know, just in case they don't know the root notes of every chord, just to give them an option of a sub bass or something like that. In Analog Lab, there is a very nice sub bass. It is, I have it like here, Bass, Prophet 5, my personal favorite. And I'm just copying the bass notes, possibly adding some variation if I think it sounds good. So now what I like to do is throw all of these into their own mixer and just mix them individually. And then at the end, I will put them all in their own mixer and add all the effects, except for the sub bass, because yeah, sub bass doesn't need to be in there. I'm just adding some delay to give it a little bit more of a wide feel. I like to EQ all of my sounds individually, just so I know that they fit nicely. I use a little bit of retro color, but you know, I feel like the vinyl noise is getting way too old now. Like, I don't know, it's not my favorite. I like to put this on stereo, minimal wobble, distortion, and I like using this for the reverb. And one last EQ. I like to put one last EQ just to make sure that if they don't use the sub bass, that it's still, nothing's clashing with their bass, their 808s, whatever they're gonna use. And then what I like to do from here is delete that, because that's kind of annoying to split up like that. Is you split it by channel, grab the first one, press shift, grab the all of them, and then personally I like to make them longer just so they have something to use in every single place. So I like to leave the sub bass for later and leave this stuff for later. Maybe just start with the main sound, then add in another. I'll have this in here, and then just make sure you leave options. You don't just send a single loop, like a whatever 4-bar loop like this, because like if you were to just only use this one, say you didn't use sub bass, and they have no variety on what they can use for it. So I personally like to make them longer samples. So I'll keep it easy like that, add the sub bass in. BPM, the key of the song, which was F major. I always put my name on the end, just so when you have been sending something out and say they use it and it's going to be used and they forget who the person that sent the samples out, just to be safe, I add my name on the end just so they actually remember that it was my sample. Make sure you have one out as a WAV file and one out as an MP3, and I'll show you that later. So the reason that we are actually sending them both out as one as a WAV file and an MP3 is because when they open the email, they won't be able to listen to just the WAV file. They actually have to download everything. So if they want to be able to pick and choose which ones they want to go through, instead of cluttering their computer and whatnot, you send an MP3 so they can actually listen to it while it's in the email. So yeah, guys, that's my process on how I make samples. I literally showed you everything that I do. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @Tretnon. And yeah, I'll see you guys later.